Good morning, I'm Kenneth Moton.
And I'm Elizabeth Herr. Here are the top 5 things to know this Monday. Number 1, the major storm is bearing down on the Northeast.
It's already caused hundreds of crashes and flight cancellations. The National Guard is on standby in New York.
Cities from Philadelphia to Boston could see snow by tonight, but inland areas of the Northeast could see up to 20 inches. Number 2, President Trump and his lawyers are refusing to participate in the next public impeachment hearing set for Wednesday.
The president has called the investigation ridiculous, tweeting that he'll be in London at the NATO summit, and the White House counsel questioned whether the hearing conducted by the House Judiciary panel will be fair.
But Democrats are moving forward. Tomorrow, the House Intelligence Committee is expected to approve its impeachment report, accusing the president of abusing his power for political gain.
On to number 3, a reward is being offered by police in New Orleans investigating a mass shooting just outside the French Quarter.
10 people were shot. 2 of them suffered critical injuries. A person of interest was taken into custody, but no arrests reported.
It came as tens of thousands of college football fans gathered in the city for the Bayou Classic. A similar shooting followed the same game 3 years ago.
Number 4, the personal data of millions of Americans has apparently been exposed in a security lapse.
Researchers say a database housing millions of private SMS text messages was left open and unsecured. It contained access information to online medical services along with passwords to websites like Google and Facebook.
Cybersecurity experts are blaming the Texas company True Dialogue, which uses text messages to send marketing materials. No immediate comment from the company.
And finally, we head to the movies for number 5, where Frozen 2 set another box office record.
It is now the highest grossing Thanksgiving weekend movie ever. It took in more than $132 million between Wednesday and Sunday.
And we're feeling frozen because the weather is cold. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to It's Morning America. And let's check in on the race for 2020. Democrats hoping to unseat President Trump are crisscrossing Iowa with the first primary votes only 2 months away. Former Vice President Joe Biden has kicked off an 8-day bus tour. Mayor Pete Buttigieg is surging as he takes on the party's progressive wing. And a question from a young voter brought Senator Elizabeth Warren to tears Sunday. ABC's Inez de la Cortara has more from the campaign trail. Inez, good morning.
Good morning, Kenneth and Liz. Former Vice President Joe Biden is trying to regain momentum in Iowa with that bus tour, while Mayor Pete Buttigieg, who's surging in the polls, is facing fresh attacks from the more progressive wing of the party. With the Iowa caucuses just 2 months away, Democrats are going all in the Hawkeye state. Former Vice President Biden in the midst of an 8-day, 18-county, 800-mile road trip. He's calling it the No Malarkey bus tour.
We're going the last 2 months here, and we're getting down to the stretch. And the time to, as they say in Iowa, the time to peak is right about now.
Biden still leads in most national polls, but the latest state polling in Iowa shows him trailing Mayor Pete Buttigieg, and he's statistically tied with Senators Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. The candidates also flooding the airwaves, over 5,000 ads airing just this week, including this one about the Buttigieg plan to limit tuition-free college.
There are some voices saying, well, that doesn't count unless you go even further, unless it's free even for the kids of millionaires. But I only want to make promises that we can keep.
That proposal drawing fresh attacks from the progressive wing of the party. Senator Warren switching up the way she campaigns, taking more questions from voters, and sharing an emotional moment on Sunday.
I was wondering if there was ever a time in your life where somebody you really looked up to maybe didn't accept you as much?
Yeah. The truth is, you got to take care of yourself first and do this. Give me a hug.
And Senator Kamala Harris, who's also in the state, the New York Times is reporting her campaign is in turmoil, with the top aide leaving to go join Mayor Michael Bloomberg's campaign and calling Harris's campaign disorganized.
And Inez, we have another debate coming up soon. Do we have any idea when this big field might be narrowed down?
That's right. So the next debate will be held on December 19th, but so far just 6 candidates have met the donor and polling requirements for that debate.
I was going to say, that was a great question, by the way, Elizabeth, because we've been waiting for this field to be narrowed down for so long. At this point, Inez, the answer to that question may be just next summer for the Democratic debate. I mean, for the Democratic National Convention at this point. So, Naz, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Well, a manhunt is underway for 4 teenagers who escaped from a juvenile detention center in Nashville. 2 of the teenagers are murder suspects. They escaped on Saturday night, reportedly slipping into an elevator and running away when their supervisor was distracted by a fight. Nashville police say the teens got a 35-minute head start before officials even noticed they were gone.
Police in northeastern Pennsylvania have issued an Amber Alert for a missing teenage girl. 15-year-old Samara Derwin was last seen Sunday at a high school about 25 miles from Scranton. Police say a 20-year-old man, Jordan Oliver, took the teen away in a stolen police SUV. Authorities searched wooded areas last night, and they're asking for the public's help.
Well, now to the relentless winter storm pummeling the East Coast. Let's check the radar right now. The storm is already blamed for several deaths after marching across the country.
People in 30 states have been facing travel delays after the holiday weekend, and the worst is yet to come for several major cities. This morning, winter weather alerts for millions of Americans getting back to business after the Thanksgiving break. The deadly storm that hit the West Coast and Midwest is now making its final stand on the East Coast. Several major cities will see the first snow accumulations of the season today, including New York, Philadelphia, and Boston.
Drivers should use extreme caution if they need to be on the road, and they should avoid traveling if they can in areas of heavy snowfall.
People in Albany, New York are bracing for up to a foot of snow. ABC's Stephanie Ramos is there.
The State University of New York here in Albany is just one of several colleges canceling classes on Monday, taking some of the pressure off of students struggling to get back to campus after the Thanksgiving break.
In Niagara Falls, this car pinned beneath a truck. Icy conditions likely to blame for the crash. This plane skidded off a taxiway as it arrived in Buffalo. And overnight, snow pummeling the airport outside Hartford, Connecticut, one of several airports across the country reporting delays and cancellations.
Drive to get here was absolutely crazy. I've never seen the airport quite this bad. It was backed up all the way up on 294. So if you come to the airport, leave early.
In South Dakota, blizzard conditions turned deadly when a plane carrying 12 people crashed shortly after takeoff. 9 people were killed, including 2 prominent business executives from Idaho, 2 children, and the pilot. In Minnesota, snowdrifts buried these cars in Duluth after more than 1.5 feet of snow. Plows struggled to keep up as drivers abandoned their cars on the highway. In Maryland, fog being eyed as the cause of this 58-car pileup. In the meantime, a new storm is building on the West Coast, already dumping snow in parts of Washington state.
A brutal crackdown on protesters in Iran has claimed the lives of nearly 200 people, and that final death toll could top 450. It is the deadliest political unrest in Iran in 40 years, triggered by a sudden increase in gas prices in a country already struggling in the face of U.S. sanctions. The New York Times says 2,000 people have been wounded and 7,000 have been detained.
And a family on a dream vacation to Cancun, Mexico says their trip turned into a nightmare when 2 dolphins went on the attack. Laura Yeo tells the British Sun newspaper that her 10-year-old daughter Lexi was swimming with the dolphins at a tourist attraction when they tried to drag her underwater, and the dolphins ignored the trainer's commands to stop. The girl managed to cling to her bodyboard until she was pulled to safety.
Those dolphins can get very frisky. The sexual drive in dolphins is very powerful, and when those hormones take over, they can become very unpredictable and in turn very dangerous.
Lexi suffered bites, cuts, and bruises. The tour company blames poor sea conditions for stressing the dolphins and says a male dolphin should not have been inside that pen. And back here at home, civil rights icon Rosa Parks has been honored with a statue in Alabama.
The life-size bronze figure is located in downtown Montgomery. Sunday was the 64th anniversary of Parks' arrest for refusing to give up her seat to a white passenger. That led to the Montgomery bus boycott, which was organized by a relatively unknown Martin Luther King Jr. and lasted for more than a year. Parks died in 2005. She was 92.
And there is now an apple variety that farmers claim will stay good in your fridge for a year.
A year. The Cosmic Crisp is expected in stores this week. It apparently maintains its texture and flavor for up to a year in the fridge. It's called Cosmic Crisp because of the bright yellowish dots on the skin, which some say look like distant stars.
It was developed at Washington State University, which says it has a good balance of sweetness and tartness. It's also ultra crisp and juicy. That's quite the review for a genetically modified apple.
It took 20 years to get to this point, but eek, I don't know.
20 years.
Yeah.
Just in time for 2020, everyone. Apple crisp that could be in your fridge all year.
Yeah.
That's what we've done for 2020.
Alrighty, moving on. Coming up, the emotional scene at senior night. The football player from Michigan State going viral.
Plus, actress Lori Loughlin's daughter speaking out for the first time since the college admissions bribery scandal broke. Why she's back on YouTube.
Welcome back. We turn now to northern Mexico, the scene of a deadly assault being blamed on a drug cartel. At least 20 people were killed in the violence, including several suspected members of the cartel. Let's go across the pond to Julia McFarlane in the London Bureau for the latest. Julia, good morning. And authorities are saying the reason for this attack is unclear at this time.
Exactly, Elizabeth. It's not exactly sure what started off this original attack from this cartel attack force that happened on Saturday. Now, an attack force from a cartel in Mexico, CDN, the Northeast Gang, those are their initials in Spanish. They attacked a city hall on Saturday and they took a number of civilians hostage. 2 civilians in the end died after that attack. But as you say, authorities said that they killed 7 more members of this gang, resulting in 14 gunmen dead, 4 officers killed in the Mexican operation against this cartel force. Several civilians who had been taken hostage were wounded, but the total civilian death toll remains at 2. Now, this town is about 35 miles southwest of Eagle Pass, Texas. It's very, very close to the U.S.-Mexico border. And there are just some really worrying stats from homicides in Mexico, which are up 2% this year. Federal officials say that there have been 29,415 homicides in Mexico so far in 2019. President Trump said in a radio interview last week that he was going to step up action on cartels in Mexico and drug violence, saying that he plans to designate the cartels as terrorist organizations, though there are no further details following that announcement.
All right, moving on to NATO. Julia, I assume you guys are about to be extremely busy. London security is tight there ahead of the NATO summit, which comes just days after a violent terror attack there left 2 young adults and an attacker with ties to Al-Qaeda dead near London Bridge. And this morning, we're learning more about the victims and the heroic actions of the bystanders.
Exactly. Over the weekend, a lot of the conversation was about security measures when it emerged that the attacker, Usman Khan, was a convicted terrorist who had only served half of his original prison sentence. But the focus, a lot of it has been on the victims. And in a move probably from previous terror attacks, a lot of the front page papers stayed away from covering the terrorist on their front covers, instead putting up big photos of the victims and paying tribute to their lives. A lot of people increasingly not wanting to glorify these attackers in a bid to maybe stop these sorts of attacks happening in the future. But today there is going to be a moving vigil in memory of the 2 victims, both of them young individuals who'd recently graduated from Cambridge University, one of the best universities in the country, and they had both attended this conference on prisoner rehabilitation, and they have been described by their families as very caring individuals who wanted to promote the better good in society, and the fact that they were involved in these schemes trying to help prisoners from reoffending and trying to rehabilitate prisoners pays tribute to that. And over the weekends, their families paid tribute to them. Saskia Jones, who was 23, she was a funny, kind, positive influence at the center of many people's lives. A statement from her family read out, and a statement from Jack Merritt's father. He was 25. He said that Jack lived by his principles. He believed in redemption and rehabilitation, not revenge, and he always took the side of the underdog.
So tragic, Julia. And before we let you go, though, let's lighten things up a little bit with our next story. A society aiming to preserve the apostrophe is calling it quits. What's this about?
Yeah, this is a really, really touching story. So this is a man called John Richards. He's 96, and he, literary pedants among us, I very much include myself in that category, will really, really appreciate what he did. Several years ago, he started the Apostrophe Protection Society back in 2001, and its aim was to promote correct use of the apostrophe. Now, he started this website after writing a complaint in a local newspaper, and he said that he had originally hoped to find maybe a dozen or even half a dozen people who felt the same way that he did. Instead, he got over 500 letters of support around the world from the UK, but also America, Australia, France, Sweden, Hong Kong, and Canada. But sad news, he's decided to shut it down now because he's getting old. He says he's trying to cut back on his responsibilities. And most damningly of all, he says that ignorance and laziness have won.
Yikes.
Yikes.
Well, there
Sad.
it is.
But you know what? Before we have people writing to us and saying, hey, wait a second here, you guys got this wrong on the screen there. I don't know if, Julia, you can see it there, but we have written below, group leader admits the apostrophe there. We know it's wrong. Not where it's supposed to be.
We only threw in one Digital Dave producer. We should have threw in a bunch of them.
But so we're poking fun at this whole story.
I mean, and obviously we have a big old apostrophe in our title for this show. It's Morning America. It's morning.
Well, no, that is a correct use of the apostrophe, so
I know,
you guys are all right. But guys, before you go, since I last spoke to you, it is now December, and I want to ask you, are you guys playing Whamageddon? Do you know what that is? Have you guys been doing that?
Clue what that is. Who? Whamageddon?
Okay. This is another lost in translation thing. You guys know the iconic British pop duo Wham, right?
Oh, yes, I do know that.
With George Michael and the other one who I
only know George Michael.
We just have to know George Michael, right? Yeah. Okay, so his iconic Christmas tune, Last Christmas. There is this game on social media. Look it up right now if you haven't heard of it. It's called Whamageddon, and the game rules are from midnight on December the 1st until midnight on Christmas Eve. If you hear the original song by Wham, Last Christmas, then you are out. Now, the rules are you go as long as possible without hearing that song. You're out as soon as you hear the original. Covers are okay. You can sing it, you can think about it, you just can't hear it. And when you're out, you then post that you're out, hashtag Whamageddon on social media. And people have already been playing it, and people are saying that this year is harder than ever because of that film with Emilia Clarke and Henry Golding is all about the song. And so trailers for that film and adverts are showing that song. And so a lot of people are out already. Some fun tweets that I just want to share with you guys. Kate says, hello, fellow Whamageddon comrades. More difficult than ever this year with a whole film based on the song. Mute TVs during ad breaks. Godspeed and see you all in Whamhalla. Whamhalla is, of course, where we all go when we are knocked out of the game.
Wow.
Of course.
You always teach us something, Julia. Now you have crossed the pond with Whamageddon.
I did really well last year. I lasted all the way until Christmas Eve. So I'm hoping to replicate my success.
I almost feel like we could do that with Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is
I think that would be too hard.
That would be very difficult.
It's too ubiquitous. Yeah. But I tell you what, it's really hard when you're shopping, right? Because all the shops have Christmas music on. And so that's where a lot of people tend to get knocked out.
Okay, well, I'm going to get on the Googler.
Yeah.
After,
all right, just don't play it on the show because that would be mean. That would be mean. Don't play.
We'll see. Hey, we'll see.
Because I can't meet you.
There it is.
You see that? My earpiece is out. I'm not listening.
No, you're lost. Awesome. You're out. All right, Julia, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, let's check our notifications now, starting with the scene at Michigan State on Saturday. That's Spartans defensive back Josh Butler and his dogs being introduced to the crowd on senior night. Butler brought Roxy and Remy with him because both his parents passed away while he was in college. Butler had plenty to celebrate by dancing with the dogs after the game. Michigan State gained bowl eligibility with its win over Maryland.
Well, next to a magical sight, after a recent snowstorm in Nevada, a unicorn spotted shoveling the sidewalk.
Yeah, it was a bet between a mother and a daughter, and that's mom right there. She lost, and she actually bought the unicorn costume online, waited for it to snow, and waited for this exact moment to
What a good sport.
Yeah, definitely.
There you go. Well, next to some border collie puppies in training, trying to herd this mailbox shaped like a cow.
They thought it was a cow. It's a mailbox, but it's good practice for those border collies there.
Oh my gosh, they're so into it.
They really are. And those dogs may have a hard time herding those cows in Russia that are experimenting with virtual reality, because these cows here have on like these little VR goggles. They thought, hey.
There you go.
The researchers there said they wanted to give the cows a very peaceful, serene surroundings. So they put them in VR and hope that will help with their milk production and quality of milk as well.
Interesting. And finally, to a celebrity admission of guilt.
Senorita singer Camila Cabello admitted to stealing from Kensington Palace. The pop star confessed in a radio interview that she stole an item from Prince William and Kate Middleton's home.
She says it happened while she was visiting the palace last month for the Teen Hero Awards. She had been triple dared to steal something.
And that something was a pencil. Cabello publicly apologized, and the royal couple has now weighed in, or at least their Twitter account did, with simply an eye emoji saying the Queen is watching you. Maybe not the Queen, just royal watchers. Yeah. We're watching you. And we turn now to actress Lori Loughlin's daughter, speaking out for the first time since her parents were charged in the college admissions bribery scandal.
Loughlin and her husband are accused of paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to get their daughters into USC, and now one of them is making a return to her popular YouTube channel. This morning, the daughter of Full House star Lori Loughlin is breaking her silence, posting on her YouTube page for the first time since March, when her parents were charged in the college admissions scandal.
Hi everybody, it's Olivia Jade. Welcome back to my YouTube channel.
In the 2-minute clip released to her nearly 2 million followers, Olivia Jade chose her words carefully, not addressing the charges leveled against her parents.
Obviously, I've been gone for a really long time, and as much as I wish I could talk about all of this, it's really hard for me to say this just because I know that it's something that needs to be addressed.
Loughlin and Januli are among 35 wealthy parents accused of paying large sums of money to get their children into prestigious colleges. Prosecutors say they paid $500,000 to get Olivia Jade and her younger sister admitted into the University of Southern California, posing them as fake athletic recruits.
Thank you so much for your patience, or if you've stuck around for 9 months just waiting. It's so hard because I'm not trying to make this about me or how I've been, because it's not the point of this.
Olivia Jade is the first student to speak on camera following the scandal, and she and her sister are no longer enrolled at USC. Prior to the charges, Olivia Jade built a brand around herself, posting video blogs documenting her life as a child of fame.
I don't really care about school, as you guys all know. Today,
the 20-year-old was a prolific social media influencer, landing lucrative makeup deals with Tresemme and Sephora. Both companies have since cut ties with her. Loughlin and Januli have pleaded not guilty and could face years in prison if convicted.
Well, coming up, we'll tell you what to watch out for on this Cyber Monday.
Plus, why a teenager in Phoenix is leaving the chimney to Santa from now on. Stick around.
Here's what to watch out for today. President Trump and the First Lady are set to head to London for the NATO summit, where Trump is scheduled to meet with French President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor Angela Merkel, and other world leaders. Keep an eye out for their departure from the White House at 9:45 Eastern right here on ABC News Live. We'll be there.
The Supreme Court will hear arguments in its first major gun rights case in nearly a decade. The justices decided to follow through with the case, even though New York City has already repealed the regulation being challenged. The regulation in question initially prevented licensed gun owners from taking their handguns outside the city. Gun control advocates are now worried that the court's conservative majority will use the case to strike down gun restrictions across the country.
Hey, and just in case you haven't heard, it's Cyber Monday. Americans are expected to spend more than $9 billion today. That's up almost 20% from last year. A few key tips before you buy. First, you might save more by picking up your online purchase at a store. Retailers like the Children's Place and Walmart offer incentives for shoppers who pick up in a store.
Another tip, wait until the end of the day. A third of purchases on Cyber Monday are made in the final few hours, and your favorite retailer just might send an email alert about last-minute deals. And finally, if you miss out on promotions today, it's okay. Experts say you will likely see these similar deals in the coming weeks.
Plus, don't forget to tune into the Debrief for an update on all our top stories in the briefing room for a breakdown of the latest headlines and politics. But let's go back to Cyber Monday, because that's our question of the day. What do you have your eye on this Cyber Monday? What's the best deal out there?
Tell us all about it in the comments or tweet us at ABC News Live.
You got your eye on something?
Skincare.
Okay.
Beauty products.
Yep.
That's me.
You don't need anything, Elizabeth.
Aw, thank
beauty,
you.
just
You're
the way
so
you are.
sweet. Thank you. And here it is, more than 3 weeks before Christmas. We are already talking about a rescue of someone stuck in a chimney in Phoenix.
Like Santa, the 17-year-old girl had the best of intentions. A friend locked herself out of the house, and so she figured, why don't we just climb on up into that chimney, and unlock the door.
Well, but what she did not know, modern chimneys are not a straight shot to the bottom, and the friend became stuck.
They snake.
She was just like, get me out, get me out. She was panicking. She was like, I don't know what to do, call 911. We're just trying to think the dumbest just to get inside the house.
Firefighters say they don't get calls like this very often, but the young woman is now fine, and Santa is saying, don't try to do what I do. This is my season.
I can do this. Exactly, yes. But thankfully, she's okay. Lesson learned.
Lesson learned.
Yes.
Have a spare key somewhere hidden on the porch. I don't know.
Love it.
Hey, that is it for us on this Cyber Monday. Happy shopping.
Happy shopping.
You feel free to keep us on ABC News Live while you shop on another screen.
And share your tips.
Oh, yeah. Don't forget to share the tips. We want to hear from you.
Yes.
Have a good day.
Have a wonderful day.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.